Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following confession that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and it reads like this. My grandmother is a witch, and she wanted to initiate me into witchcraft. I refused, and this is what is happening to me. How are you, Brother Nashi? I kindly ask that you post my story, but when you do so, please hide my identity. I don't want people to know, especially my name and my surname. I don't know what will happen if I start to trend on social media. I am a 38-year-old woman. I currently live here in South Africa, coming here to Johannesburg. I can say that it was just an attempt to get a breath of fresh air. I never came to South Africa to look for a job. I just wanted to be free from the spiritual darkness that surround our family back home in Zim. We do not have peace at all in our family. So I was tired of moving in and out of marriages due to barrenness at my age of 38. You won't even believe it that I do not have a child, and it gets so painful. And when it is at night, there are times when I do not have peace. When I am scrolling through social media, then I see other parents enjoying with their kids, yet I have never had a child in my life. At the age of 38, I have already been married in 3 marriages, and these men that have married me, all of them, the way that we ended up getting a divorce, it was painful. Sometimes through death, sometimes a man just walking away from you, even though you did not have any problems at all with him. These things are not happening to me alone. It is a curse that is now following our bloodline. Right now, it is happening to my own mother's children as well as my cousin sisters. We can just say that it is happening to the whole family, especially to the girls. Us as the women in the family, we are suffering. Our brothers, they can't sleep with their partners because my grandmother is busy sleeping with them, but not physically. She flies at night. It does not matter if you are in Cape Town, you are in America. Our grandmother, she is a broom. She uses that broom to fly, and then she will locate you and she will sleep with you. And after she would have slept with you, you won't be able to sleep with your partner after that. As I'm speaking with you right now, there is not a single girl in our family who is married or who even lasts for a year with a man. It's like we are smelling. Once you sleep with a man, that guy, the way that he will start to look at you, it's like you are something that has no value at all to him. He will start to mistreat you, being violent towards you. And I have cousins of mine that are here in South Africa. If you know the wealth that we do have in Zim, you would ask yourself, why don't you just guys go back and then you can enjoy your money in Zim? I do have my cousins that are staying in locations where they are prostitutes. They go to taverns. It is because of that spirit of witchcraft that has been following our family, the curses that are coming from my grandmother. These things, they are being caused by my grandmother. I am not just accusing my grandmother because I know that for a fact she is a witch. My grandmother opened up to me plainly and she said, granddaughter, I am a witch and I have chosen you as the person that is going to replace me in this whole witchcraft thing that she does. Brother Nashim, in order for you to understand where I am going and where I am coming from, let me take you a little bit so that you can understand where my story is coming from. I grew up in a very wealthy family. We did not lack anything in our family, even though my grandmother is a witch, but she was someone that was very wise in each and every business that she did. She entered into businesses that she understood. I can say that my father's house, and amongst all of his siblings, no one struggles to take care of their family. It is only the spiritual darkness that has been chasing us away from our own parents. So we are those people who grew up living a westernized lifestyle. We live in Harare in a suburb that is more like Senton in Borodale. That is the house that my father and my mother built in those areas like Senton. Yet I am here in South Africa, just hiding in South Africa. If there is spiritual warfare in your family, you might have a 10 million rand house in Senton, but you won't stay in that house. You would rather stay in a location where you are staying in a shack where you can have the peace of mind. The moment that I crossed Limpopo coming into South Africa, I felt this feeling that I was now free, and that heaviness that I used to feel at all the times, it was suddenly gone. So in our family, I am the eldest grandchild. My father was born in a family of only 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl, and my father is the eldest. So what happened is this in my life is that when I was born, I was then named after my grandmother, which is very common in our culture back home. These things happened when I was still young. I could not refuse, or I could not agree to the fact that they wanted to name me after a witch. And my parents, I don't know if they knew or they did not know that my father's mom is a witch. So I did not know, and they did not know that being named after someone had implications in the future. So before you decide to name someone after one of your relative, you might be doing it because you really love that relative of yours, but there are consequences, there are cases that follow the name of a person. If you are going to name your son after that brother that you love, maybe he was a gangster, he died in prison, I bet you that your child is also going to have that demonic spirits following him wherever he goes to, and you end up committing crime. So in our family, we grew up in the faith. We all go to the Roman Catholic Church. A traditional healer or a prophet has never set foot at our homestead, never. That one, it will never happen with the way that my parents love science and church. You know, rich people, they do not believe in miracles, and they do not believe that demons, they are for real. In the spiritual world, they say that it does not exist. Therefore, my parents, they do not believe in such things. My mother grew up in the Roman Catholic Church and does not believe in prophetic ministries. My father, as an educated man, he does not believe in things like witchcraft. Let's just say that they don't believe in anything that is spiritual at all. So in my upbringing, since I carried my grandmother's name, whenever the holidays arrived, I would go to her homestead in the rural areas. My grandmother lived alone in the rural areas. Our whole family, we come from a village that is in Madziva. That is where our family home is. Out of all the grandchildren, I was the one that always had the routine whereby as soon as the schools will close, I would head straight to the rural areas to be with my grandmother. It felt as if there was something constantly calling me to come there. I had a deep love for my grandmother, even more than for my own biological parents. I was not even comfortable telling my mother about the things that bothered me. My heart was only free to tell my grandmother all my problems, and my mother would only find out through him. So I grew up like that, and to everyone, it seemed so completely normal. When I was now in Form 3 during the August holidays, I went to my grandmother's place as usual. When I arrived, she started by slaughtering a goat for me. We would spend a whole week eating goat meat, just the two of us. The meat will last so long that eventually it will turn into dried biltong, and we would happily eat everything. It will only be the two of us. Little did I know that by giving me biltong, ladies, you need to be careful when you visit other people with your children, especially when they are young. You need to be careful the type of food that your children are given. Biltong usually can be given to a child that is about to be initiated, because when a witch harvests the meat from a person, they make it to be dry like biltong. They can even give you human meat. You'll be thinking that maybe it is just beef that has been dried, yet you are eating a whole human being. So as I was growing up, I did not even know that my grandmother, she was training me. So my grandmother, she was initiating me. You need to be careful. Your children can be initiated when they are still very young. So one thing that was not normal about me, I had this deep love for my grandmother. I did not even had that kind of deep love for my own biological parents. I was not even comfortable telling my mom the first time that I was on my period. I waited until it was holiday, and when we went to the villages, I told my grandmother all of my problems. My mother would only find out through my grandmother. So I grew up like that, and to everyone, it seemed completely normal. When I was in Form 3, it was during the August holidays. I went to my grandmother's place as usual. When I arrived, she started by slaughtering a goat for me. Then my grandmother said to me, "Grandchild, you are grown now, and I have a matter that I want to discuss with you." She then said to me, "Grandchild, I have a secret that I want to tell you because you are the only grandchild that I love. I love you deeply, so I want to help you so that when you grow up, you won't suffer like the way that other women are suffering. You enter into marriages only to come back out. I want to help you so that when you get married, you will settle down for life with your lover, with your only one husband, just like what I did with your grandfather. I have some herbs that I want to put on your back." She was holding a razor blade. She said that she was going to cut me, and then she was going to put those herbs inside of my skin. When my grandmother finished explaining her story, I immediately asked her where she had gotten these herbs, because since childhood, I knew my grandmother to be a prayerful person, but the words that she spoke shocked me. She told me that she had these herbs because they were left to her by her own grandmother when she was still young. She was told that the herbs she possessed had to be passed down to her eldest grandchild, continuing down the line. So now it was my duty to receive them because I was named after my grandmother. And she said that she was going to give me everything. She was going to put these herbs and she was going to mix them with my blood. So I refused. When she told me that I was supposed to keep these herbs that were left over and I was supposed to hand them down to my grandchild, I had heard about generational curses before, and this was like a generational covenant with the demons. And as someone who grew up in church, I immediately refused. I told her that we did not handle traditional herbs, nor did I want anything that had to do with demons in my bloodstream, because the church and traditional herbs, they do not go together. When I refused this matter, my grandmother and I, we no longer got along. I returned back from the holiday before it ended, but I did not tell my parents the reason why I had left my grandmother's place early. I just lied and I said I had returned to focus on studying since I was getting close to Form 4. As someone who was troubled by this matter, I went to my mother and I asked her and I said, "Mama, when you gave me my grandmother's name, what had happened?" My mother then told me that it was not the name that they had originally given to me when she gave birth to me, but the problem came when I was born. I kept my parents awake for the whole week. I was crying. I cried nonstop, refused to breastfeed. So she said that my grandmother came and said to my mother, "If this child belongs to this family, I am going to give her my name and she must stop crying." It is said that my grandmother held me in her arms, lifted me up in the air, named me and said, "This child is now mine." It is said that the moment that I was given her name, I immediately stopped crying. So my parents never changed my name again. I was registered. It was a new name that was registered on the birth certificate, the name that I do have to this very day. So when my mother explained this to me, I started to realize a pattern. However, I refused anything to do with my grandmother of joining witchcraft. I started to have dreams. I would see 3 women that would come to me. They were scary. They would say that They want to ruin my life, and they wanted me to sign a signature in a book that they were holding, and I refused. Those dreams, it was so terrifying. These women, sometimes they would come, and then I would see them changing and becoming scary snakes. Since these dreams were tormenting me, I eventually told my mother, and my mother said that it happens, you can have nightmares. When I was 23 years old, I got married to my boyfriend. He paid the lobola for me, and before we had a wedding, my boyfriend got involved in an accident and he died when he was returning back from visiting my parents. My grandmother said this on the funeral: "Did you see what I told you? I want to fortify you so that you won't have trouble again. I had suffered and I did not want to suffer, but I chose not to listen to my grandmother. I entered into another marriage and another marriage." So this is what my grandmother has told me. She says that she has the keys and she can release me from this curse. She can release everyone from the curse. All that I need to do is to accept that I am going to be a witch. And this curse, it follows our entire generation. There is nothing that can be done. I have gone to a prophet who has told me that the only way that this curse can be broken is if we do a go back to sender. I am afraid because I was told by this prophet to travel back to Zim and then to take the soil from her compound and to return back with that soil back to South Africa. That is why I have come here. So I have come here, Brother Nash, looking for help. I'm scared that if I do such a go back to sender, if she dies, maybe the whole family will find out that this is what I did, and then they are going to blame me for witchcraft. I know for sure that they are going to blame me for witchcraft. Please assist me. I'll be following through in the comment section. I am not a bad person. All that I want is for me to be free from this curse. I want to get married ASAP. I want to have my own family. I believe that I can still have a child before I reach maybe late 40s. Please assist me. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our dear sister. Let us speak with our dear sister in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. I'll be back with another episode.